attacks, because this is derelict water. Extreme widespread open spaces definitely give a tremendous favorite to Soulkey on this one.
That's right. I mean, it's still a little bit complicated at endgame stages for Zerg, but a lot of Protosses can't even get to that stage because it's so hard to get that third base. We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into game number 2. Oz versus Soulkey.
The man spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner, one of the champion Zergs of Korea leading the series, Woongjin Star Soulkey!
And the top right-hand corner, the red Protoss, it is our evil geniuses, Oz!
Looks like it will be, yet again, a gateway in main base. Now, I got a question for you, Toronto. Are you rooting for Soulkey, or are you kind of secretly rooting for Naniwa? That's right, I saw through your tricks, Toronto.
Well, let's find out a little bit. It is a gateway opening yet again from Evil Geniuses. Oz, he's going to be doing this a little bit different. I think Forge Fast expansion is very popular on this map. I can understand why. I like the Probe Scout too with the gateway expand because, as I said, it feels like Forge Fast expansion right now, but it's in fact looking like a gateway no gas expansion.
Oh, this is going to be so dirty if he pulls this one off. Soulkey's going to expand to the wrong place. That's not what you want to do, Soulkey. Oh, Oz is going to get a nice pickup. He cancels. He can actually just slam out a very fast Zealot. Look at that. No gas yet. He's actually going to go one gate chrono boosted Zealot. Oh, Oz. Oh, no. No, he's going for a Nexus. Never mind. No tension is going to happen.
I still love the build of Oz so far. I mean, like, just forcing that third base, or at least the natural at the third base, it does mess up a couple of minerals. You want to be transferring drones all the way over there. He's going to lose out maybe 100, 200 minerals because of this, though.
Well, Oz is poking on in. He has both seen no expansion at the natural and no attempt to take a second base at the natural. So in this spot, Oz will likely either just straight assume he's against 3 base. Yeah, I mean, you really should at this point in time. It's right at the 4-minute mark. That's when the Zergs will generally get up all 3 of those bases. Well, I mean, technically, he's either on 3 bases or he's bad, and you can cross off one of those possibilities with Soulkey.
Yes. So Oz for sure knows his 3 base. I like this position for him as he's already gotten his Nexus out. This is a very, very fast economic build. And you also get your tech really fast. Now, normally for Forge Fast expansions, you would go ahead and get the Forge, the cannons. He doesn't have to worry about that, so it's just about 300 minerals faster for him to tech.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. You normally either go for a gate first, and then you're spending money on gas, cybernetics core, warp gate, mothership core. A lot of these things can come down before you even begin the Nexus. But Oz didn't really delay his cybernetics core that much at all, and it was all thanks to that very clever early scout that blocked the natural expansion. I mean, Oz is playing this very well, but let's not forget Soulkey is just amazing at these variable situations. And Soulkey,
look at that,
has his extractor spotted.
Really weird extractor timing, right? He started at 5 minutes, and normally the go-to is for Soulkey double gas at 5:45. So he's bringing out really early, maybe a little bit defensive, wants to get metabolic boost out really fast.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely seems like it, wanting to get that gas up to deny any potential gateway push, because one of the reasons why you would go for gateway expand is to go for a fast warp gate attack. And Soulkey even has some evidence from last game that Oz is willing to do warp gate attacks.
Yeah, normally, I'm sorry, against Forge Fast expansion it would be double 5:45, but now it makes a lot of sense because he's up against gateway. He needs to be so much more cautious.
Third base from
What
Oz.
the heck? This is a 6:30 third base. Now, This is very scary if the Zerg player, and especially if you don't have Overlords in that area. And guess what? He has no Overlords in that area.
Oh no, it looks like it's going to be an attempted flank from all sides by Soulkey, but Oz micros so well. Look at this. The only hull damage he took is just a few hit points on this Zealot. Only 14 points of damage. Oz is going to sit back, let that charge happen back on his shields, and then re-engage. These are free units. All the while, Oz is getting up an extra base.
And if he's able to get that up, obviously Photon Overcharge will be so helpful, but a lot of Zerglings popping out here. And Metabolic Boost is about to finish. This can surprise Oz pretty extremely bad. And if Oz doesn't get some sort of wall or cannons up, I don't even think he has a forge. This is not looking good. Soulkey might have the perfect build order counter to Oz.
Oh my God. What great star sense from Soulkey. Sniffed out the Expo like it was nothing. And now what do you do if you are in Oz's shoes? Do you try to move out with all your units? Are you scared to do that? Do you just Photon Overcharge? Yep, looks like Photon Overcharge is going to be the choice. Soulkey is not abandoning. Soulkey is trying to target fire it down. No, has to pull out.
Yeah, not enough Zerglings there, and he's able to block the front. But does see the Twilight Council Forge going down here, so that should give indicators. A lot of times when you see Twilight Council as the next major tech, you're thinking +2 Blink Stalker all in off of 3 base.
And I love that play. Always a very strong play, Blink Stalkers especially, because of how difficult it is to defend all these varying angles. Soulkey, though, has to move in fast. Nope, the window of time is closed. There is no more opportunity. It is a walled-off cannon in the main base. Soulkey throwing down the infestation pit, likely going straight up for a fast hive. The signal's going to be what these Evo chambers do. We just see armor right now, roach speed going down. Never a big signal. You always do want roach speed if you think you're up against a gateway aggressive player, which is definitely Oz in this position. But what is that second Evo chamber going to do? Oh, there it is. It's going to be melee attacks.
Yeah. Okay, so this almost feels like it is going to be a Hass Hive tech, but I think he's going to stop first at Infestation Pit. He's going to get the, wow, I thought it was going to be Infestors, but no, it will be Swarm Hosts. Now, this is a tough map to pull off Swarm Hosts just because of the openness. You can always circumvent the Swarm Hosts or the Locusts and get behind them or to the side or just completely disregard them.
This is definitely Soulkey we're seeing here. I mean, Soulkey, all right, time to build the slowest unit in the game and take the farthest away expansion in the game. It's not a criticism of Soulkey. This is his exceptional play. Only Soulkey is someone I would trust to be spreading himself this thin on this many disparate positions and being able to pull it off. But Oz smells Swarm Host. He's going double Robo, and that's not for maximum observer production.
That's a lot of Colossus. He still hasn't scouted out or sniffed out that 4th base, but I love this continuous hallucinated scouts always on the map. He's checking and making sure that the compositions are exactly what he thinks they are.
And he's spotting where the army is. It looks like he's going to check for this watchtower. Is he going to hook up to the top left? No, it looks like he will just be hallucinated to death.
Pushing out to the map now, I like this. You want to do this as Protoss consistently. Even though there aren't any timings, you want to force out as many units as possible. Look at all those roaches popping out. Those could have been Swarm Hosts. Those could have been Infestors or better tech. But what you're doing, you've already built your army. You can easily recall out if ever it gets #dicey.
Well, it looks like we are seeing a Warp Prism pop out. A little bit of blink moves, advancing to the front lines. This top corner, Soulkey, so on point about getting those geysers up and operational right away. Here comes the Swarm Host, and then it's time to run for Oz. But Warp Prisms, the best counter. I mean, in this position, what do you do if you're Soulkey? I mean, the worst defensive unit in the game, the Swarm Host, can never catch up to these counter warp-ins. 2 Colossus being chrono boosted out at a time. I mean, infinite Colossus always going to be correct against Swarm Host.
If Oz does this right, he should never have to engage against those Swarm Hosts. Crossing the map is the hardest thing for Somas. As you said, one of the hardest to defend units, and with Warp Prisms out in the field, with Blink Stalkers being active and his whole army still shuffling around the map, it's hard to really justify that push. So I think Oz is in a great position mobility-wise. The question is, how is Soulkey going to settle things down? How can he get this good fight with the Swarm Host connecting against all of the main army. He needs fungal growth.
Yeah.
He needs something to clamp down the army, or maybe Vipers even.
Yeah, Vipers would be a great choice. Hive has just finished up. Spire's just finished up. Corruptor's also en route, it looks like. Whoa, wait a minute. What's this spell?
Never seen it before.
Going to be surprisingly useful in this circumstance. I mean, Soulkey's going to dance back and forth. Swarm host count not particularly high, but the warp gate moving into the backside. Oh no, see you later, ramp control.
Oh, here we go.
And
Force field is
boom,
down.
it goes.
He can do a lot of warp-ins here. He has a lot of gateways, and at the meantime, doing an attack at the top left-hand side. A lot of units going down, but I don't think Soulkey has the material to really clean this up.
Man, you can't defend this with the Locust. They're too slow. More force fields at the ramp. What a play from Oz. He's out of force fields, but also Soulkey may be soon out of Hive. Top base definitely taking some serious hits as well.
And this is the mobility factor that you really have as Protoss if you're up against Swarm Host. They take so long to pop out of here to Hive.
300 HP, 250, 200 F. It stays alive.
Soulkey barely holds on there, but that's going to be a big point of contention as Oz will want to clean that up yet again. The fourth base, though, being removed off the map, that's a big boon to Oz's army, his future plans, because now this big engagement will have no bank behind it, no bank for the Zerg, so they can just tech switch and overrun the Protoss player.
You know, one thing I'm seeing here is that as awesome as those moves from Oz were, the key parts of the army haven't really reduced in number. There's still a lot of Swarm hosts, still good number of Corrupt. There's 6 on the field right now. So Oz needs to make a little bit more of an army damaging attack happen, or a worker damaging attack happen, because there's been hardly any workers killed on either side this game.
Yeah, that is a little bit troublesome. I mean, you can't deny Swarm hosts are still very scary. Oh my god.
Yes.
Go for the Hive.
Oh, with the hallucinated
cool
Phoenix.
play.
What a move.
Transfuse. 9-2. Will he get it? One more shot. Down it goes. Oz will take out the Hive of his opponent and see the Greater Spire being morphed at the same time. Such important key scouts here.
What a play from Oz. Hallucinated Phoenixes being a benefit all game long. Double Stargate going down. That's going to be a sign that Tempests are on the plan for Oz. He needs some way to deal with the long range of Broodlords, the long range of Swarm hosts. He has enough Colossi to deal with all the Locusts, as well as anything else Zerg will make on the ground. But there's 6 Broodlords coming up. Broodlord, Swarm host, a brutal combination. Don't forget how much damage the Locusts are doing with each shot. 12. Unupgraded.
Now comes down to just Soulkey being out of position. It's very hard to assault the Zerg base if your units are in the perfect position. Roaches are counterattacking third base, but I think it will be cleared up. Still doing a lot of damage. Now blinking into the... Oh my god, look at this.
What a move!
Taking out the third base. It's very heavily saturated.
Roaches annihilating the expansion. Zerglings heading up, but it's the third of Soulkey that's the big problem right now. Those are exposed Broodlords. Is Oz going to try to go for the pickup? Is he going to pull out? It looks like it's going to be a very cautious play. Getting a little bit disorganized there, but the base is starting to go down. Oh my god, Pylon gets picked. Nothing there to reinforce.
And those Zerglings are taking him down so fast. Will they be able to do it in time? The Nexus will go down!
Oh, what a move again! Crazy exchanges by Soulkey and Oz in this key game 2. Fleet Beacon completes, but Oz doesn't even have the funds to start Tempest production. He would love a Templar Archives right now because there is 2,000 gas in the bank, but will he have time to do it? 11 Swarm hosts, 7 Broodlords advance.
It will be difficult at this point. I mean, he's barely mining his fourth base just being taken out, and his third base, a lot of the probes being taken out. No, actually, I'm sorry. He kept a lot of his probes. He's still at 79, so that's a pretty high count.
Wow.
If we look at the army tab, the Zerg has 111 supply invested against 90 of the Protoss, so it is looking pretty decent right now for Soulkey as he moves in with this very slow army.
Well, Soulkey's beginning the siege. What will the tech choice path of Oz be? Does he want to commit to those Tempests?
Nice
it looks
play.
like Oz is going to be committing to counterattacks. If I can keep you on no bases, I'll eventually win the war of attrition. Oh, Soulkey doesn't recognize.
Dark Templar is just ripping apart this army now. All the work that Soulkey put out on the middle of the map is for naught. I mean, he has to go back to defend. And remember, Oz still has a recall. Oz still has a recall. He needs to get out of here.
Takes some serious hits. One Colossus falls, clusters up. Recall needs to happen mighty soon, and there it goes. At the top side, though.
Dark Templars were cleared out. Yeah. I mean,
little guy.
And a fight is brewing, Day 9.
Tempest
out
arrived.
in the field. This will help, but he needs vision on that army, which is difficult. Both players almost at max supply. Oz at a 182, still needs a little bit of room there. 140 supply for the Zerg army against 104. You can see.
I mean, it's sick how big the army of Soulkey is. I mean, look at the resources tab. Oh my God, 10K, 5K for Soulkey, and 5K, 3K for Oz. Oz is in a very dicey spot. He needs to do some amazing Tempest shots. This is gonna help. Dealing every little bit of damage that he can. That's not a fair amount of Broodlords. There should be like a Broodlord only supplied cap. It's 14 on the field right now.
Oh, how can he actually deal with that? I don't think he has the anti-air just yet. Tempest take a long time. Now counterattack again at the third base. Soulkey crushes all the probes in here. These Zerglings have been ripping apart every one of the Protoss units, but the counterattack is doing so much here. Does he have another recall though? Day 9, the Tempest cannot die here.
He shouldn't blink forward. There are Broodlords on the other side. Where is the Mothership Core? It's nowhere nearby that I can see. Oh no, not a recall in sight.
No, there is not. Where can he possibly
Where does he go? Where does he go?
This is not looking good. He loses the entire army here. Broodlords gonna just sweep on through. No response from Oz. Down to 128 supply. Oz trying to take out this hatchery. But Soulkey is just on top of everything. He doesn't mind because, hey, he just killed like seven Stalkers, 4 Colossus, Tempest. Everything is looking great for our Zerg player.
Somehow Oz managed to keep that expansion alive, but there's 11 Swarm Hosts, 11 Corruptors, 14 Broodlords, 5 Queens on the map. Hardly anything for the Protoss player. I mean, maybe an extreme number of Tempests will win this game, but I'm not convinced. This is a terrifying army, and only Corruptors need to be made right now for Zerg. Protoss out-expanding the Zerg, that's kind of uncommon.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to Soulkey attacking very, very soon. He needs to do damage fast. He needs to have the engagement fast here. It'll be difficult because these Tempests are going to constantly try to kite back and back and back. And I like the little attacks at the third base, but the first round of Swarm Hosts, the Locusts, should not be going into the natural here. They need to be going into that third base to force Oz to engage.
Now Oz is looking for any opportunity to pick off the detection that he can to get observers in position, because without sight range, the Tempests are not particularly useful. Locusts, though, deal sickening damage, sickeningly fast. Oz, 46 probes to 36.
I think Oz is in a decent position here, though. He can start kiting with those Tempests if he so chooses. The Broodlords are a little bit exposed. Dark Templar goes down to drones. And there is a counterattack brewing in the top left-hand corner. Great Dark Templar usage yet again. You need to take off those Queens.
Mothership Core, no! It falls!
An important unit. Now Tempest being taken out right as they leave.
This counterattack is going to be the game changer. It's Tempest with cannons. And it looks like will any fall? One goes down, and this is a big commitment by Soulkey. I don't know if I like the decision. 6 more Corruptors in production. It's all up to the Tempest now. The Broodlords are in sight range, getting one-shotted.
And he needs to do game-ending damage with this counterattack. I mean, these Tempests will not be able to do it by themselves. The pylon goes down, powering all 7 of those cannons. Corruptors closing in. Can they do it against these Tempests? There is no more anti-air. 6 Corruptors in the production tab. And I think maybe Oz can hold here.
I mean, this is very close, because right now there's 33 drones, but there's nothing mining. I mean, Soulkey is completely committed to this top corner. We see Stormers do have the energy that they need. This one probe continues to mine gas in the midst of every terror he's just seen. What a dedicated guy. Locusts continue to charge forward. The army has gotten neither larger nor smaller for Soulkey.
But look at this. All he has to do is kill all the anti-air.
Yes.
If he kills the Corruptors, there's nothing in response to these Tempests, and Oz can still win the game. Yes, Swarm Hosts are on the ground. Yes, there's a lot of Broodlords, but it doesn't matter because all he needs to do is give infinite time for these Tempests to wail away at all those units.
I mean, this is as close as a game can be. More warp-ins happen there. The choice of unit is High Templar. I like it. Very efficient. Going to be throwing down the Archons, still leaving enough room to get gas. Right now, Oz. Oh, Changeling spot everything. Going to be heading up onto the top. And what will the choice be?
It's just so tense right now. Now finally starting to mine up his income. It's not going to be fast enough to really get a hatchery down there all too fast. Trying to flank around where the units are out of position. Will he get it? The Corruptors, such a low count, but now the Locusts will be going the right way. Oz needs to rethink about pushing into this direction. Also, Oz cannot lose these observers.
Oh, yeah. Oz is losing everything at this top side. He's completely abandoned his base. I mean, I'm not quite sure what Oz was planning here. I mean, this base is destined to fall now that he's stepped away.
Yeah. Corruptors gets a nice storm off, just weakens them a little bit for those Tempests to take over. But, oh, Locust.
Stormed the Overlord.
And now, all of a sudden, Oz needs to be careful that he can get eliminated. Are there any probes? There are no probes on the field, Day 9.
There's no probes on the map. Oh, no.
And he's supply
Oh, my God.
So if he loses that Nexus, he's dead.
This is it. Oz needs to engage now. He knows it. He knows that this is the time. He has to strike, but he can't get a good angle. Oh, a terrible blink!
Big misstep. Loses most of the units. Now Corruptor starting to engage. The Tempest need to turn around. There's only 4 Tempests left. There it is. Is he going to get good Storm? Storm on top of the Corruptors. But I don't think it's going to be enough, Day 9.
Oh no, at the key moment, Oz chokes, misblinks, abandons his expansion, runs out of probes, and Broodlord, Corruptor, Swarm Host proves too strong. Soulkey rolls through in a tense game 2. GG is all.
Soulkey, some outstanding performance right there on a big open map. He still chooses to go this slow-moving army and just able to get a positional clamp in the middle of the